Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. It's a one and only girl, Fina. Thank you for coming again today. Today we are talking about fencing, cost of fencing, and how you can calculate your materials for your fencing. All right, so let's dive into the video, guys. We are talking about 100 by 150 a plot of land. That is like 3 plot of land. If it's measuring 50 by 100, this 100 by 150 is 3 plots of land. That is what we are using to estimate or to calculate our materials that you'll be needing for this fencing work. All right, to fence 100 feet by 150 plot of land in Nigeria with 12 coaches. We are working with 12 coaches, not 10 this time around. All right, that is rows of blocks. We can estimate the quantity of materials needed as follows. Firstly, you calculate the perimeter. Yesterday in my video, I gave a formula for how to get your perimeter. It's still the same thing we are doing here. And when you are done with that, you say perimeter equals to 2 times open bracket 100 feet plus 150 feet. That will give you 500 feet. So the total length of the fence will be 500 feet. All right, so the next thing you will do is to calculate how many blocks that is required for this work. Assuming you are using 9 inches blocks, which are 18 inches of 1 by 5 feet long. Now let's calculate it. Blocks per coach or per course will be 500, that 500 feet that we got divided by 1.5 feet. All right, that will give you approximately 334 blocks per coach, per row. Okay, so now if you're having the 12 rows and a row is giving you 334 blocks. Now we are working with 12 coaches. That will be 334 blocks multiplied by 12. How many coaches you are working with? If it is 8, you multiply by 8. If it's 10, you multiply by 10. Here we are dealing with 12. All right, so when you multiply by 12, it will give you approximately 4,008 blocks. So now you will need approximately 4,008 blocks for this work, 100 feet by 150 feet. Now the cement. What are the quality of cement? Quantity, sorry. What is the quantity of cement needed for this work? The number of bags of cement required depends on the mortar mix. That is the laying of the block. Typically is even yesterday I said it that the mortar mix is 1:6, 1 bags to 6 pounds of sand. Okay, so when you work with this, you'll be having on average 1 bag of cement can lay approximately 70 to 100 blocks. So this depends on those working for you, but we are going to work with 70 blocks. 1 bag of cement will go for 70 blocks. So if it's going for 80, 90, 100 for you, you work with that. Okay, so estimating for 4,008 blocks, sorry, estimating for 4,008 blocks, cement bags will be that 4,008 blocks divided by 70. I told you we are going to work with 70 here per bag, and that will give you approximately 57 bags minimum. So when you're buying, you buy more. You buy more because of some unforeseen. And remember that this thing is just for the block. So if you are buying blocks, don't even buy this 60 to 65 I wrote here, because you will need blocks for casting. For your foundation, you will need block. And foundation, I did not calculate it here because that depends on the depth of your foundation. Some foundation used to be deep, some use don't used to be deep. So that is why I did not calculate it, but I'm going to still give you a rough estimate of that. Okay, don't worry, I will do that for you. So it depends on the depth of your foundation, and secondly, where you are fencing. Some soils are swampy that you would need to cast. No matter how the foundation, you need to cast, and you will also need to cast pillars. For the partitioning, you will need to cast pillars because of the soil. So all those things, you will know that you will need more sand and more cement, though when casting is sharp sand, not shocking sand anymore. And the sand we are talking about, we will talk about or calculate here, is shocking sand. I'm not going to calculate the sharp sand because um I don't know the type of soil you are building on, and I don't know the kind of design of fence you want. I don't know if you just want to use block to partition or you want to cast, because some people the soil will still be okay, but they will say cast for me. And remember that while fixing your gate, you will also cast the pillars. All right. So it's safer you buy more cement than what we just got, or than what you will get after calculating yours. Buy more. Buy more. Don't say I did not tell you. So let's go to the next thing we'll be needing is sand. Shocking sand here. So sand is required for the mortar mix. That is for the laying of the block. The quantity of sand depends on the number of blocks and the mix ratio. A typical estimate is 1 ton of sand per 1,000 blocks. 1 ton of sand goes for 1,000 blocks. And here we're working with 4,008, almost 4,000. So we'll work with 4 tons of sand. This is for shocking sand. Sand that is used for laying of blocks, not sharp sand for casting. All right. So iron rod, you'll be needing iron rod for sure. Yes, you'll be needing iron rod if you are going to fix gate immediately after fencing. Even if your even if your soil is okay, you will still need iron rod for the gate, for the pillar. Okay. But some people will need more iron rods because if the soil is not solid, you will need iron because you need to cast, or else if it's a swampy area and you don't cast, your fence might collapse anytime. So you need to cast. And I didn't calculate iron rod here because I don't know how many to calculate. So I just had to put it down so that you will know that there is necessity for it. You will be needing iron rod for sure. So that depends on you. Some people, just as I've said initially, might still need iron rod if they want to cast, even regardless of whether their soil is swampy or not. So you will need it. And typically, what is used is 10 mm or 12 mm for this. All right. So the length of and the number of rods will depend on how many pillars and the design of the foundation. The next thing is gravel. Gravel, I did not calculate as well because what I just worked for, I calculated for is blocks, laying of blocks, how many blocks you will need, and the sand that will be used for the laying of the block, and then the cement that will be used for the laying of the block. So gravel, you will need it for your foundation. When casting the foundation, you will need it, but that depends on the depth of this foundation as well. If it's deep enough, you will need more. If it's not, you will need less. And if you are using pillar to partition, you will need more gravel. If you are not, you will need less. That will be for only the gate pillars. So that is why I didn't calculate. But just know that there is something like gravel during fencing. All right. So that is it. So estimate the base of the gravel is required if you plan to create a concrete foundation. The quantity depends on the width and depth of the foundation. So estimate this based on the size of the trench dug for the foundation. Then lastly, there are some additional materials you will need. Gate, yes, it's not everybody that will fence and put up gate immediately, so you should just have it in mind. If you are putting up gate, you should add it to whatever we are going to get here. If you plan to install gates, you will need to factor in additional materials like hinge, locks, and potentially more cement and iron rod. I've said this already. Then labor. I did not talk about labor, but believe you me, in this work, you will need more than 500k for labor because only block is consuming like 500. These days, you see them charging 100 per block, 120 per block. It's 9 inches block. So when you calculate by that 4,000, you see that you are heading to 500 already. You have not talked about, and remember, you also be needing planks. If you are casting pillars, you will need some planks for that. So you need some planks, workmanship for that, workmanship for the iron bender, workmanship for the carpenter, and all that. You will need extra money for labor. So labor might consume, or you should expect nothing less than 600k for labor. Though it depends on your area, it might be lesser if they are still charging like 60 naira, 80 naira per block in your area. It might be lesser. Then what next? The summary of materials to estimate. Okay, blocks, we got 4,800 blocks multiplied by the present price of 9 inches block, which is 600 naira. We are having 2,404,800. Then cement. Remember, I said you should buy more. We got 50 something, but we are working with 65 bags of cement here. So when you multiply it, you're having 487,500. Then sand, 4 tons by 500. A ton is 5,000. So when you multiply it, you have 20,000. This alone that we calculated is totaling 2.912300, which is almost 3 million naira. So when you iron rod, that I did not calculate. So it depends on design and also the soil of the land that you are working on. Okay, then gravel I didn't calculate, but with all this workmanship, iron rod, gravel, and water, planks, hinge, and all that, you should be expecting anything from 4 million naira to 5 million naira. It might even be more than 5 million naira, depending on your area, the soil, and all that. But at most 5 million naira for fencing of 100 feet by 150 feet plot of land in Nigeria with a present price. These are something we used to estimate with a million plus last 2 years or last year. Now we are talking about 5M. Nigeria, it is well. For those of you that keep asking me, who are you? Are you an engineer? No, I am not an engineer. I'm only a project manager certified by Google. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to share. Please share. After clicking that like button, share the video if it's helpful to you. I love you. See you next time. Mwah.